out to be a problem. I kept hearing ads about debt settlement that seemed too good to be true. And actually, it was. When I called, they told me to stop paying my bills. That didn't sound right to me at all, so I hung up. Later, I found out that debt settlement is bad, real bad. Then I learned that there is a right way to pay off your credit cards. It's called a debt management program from the great team at Trinity. Trinity had a plan. In the end, I paid off my bills, I saved thousands, and I even improved my credit score.
If credit card debt has down, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
My name is Heather. Please forget debt settlement and remember Trinity Debt Management.
1-800-990-6976.
Here's the Wall Street Business Report.
The Swiss town of Davos is hosting the annual meeting of global political and corporate elites this week. World Economic Forum organizer Mike Dusek says the annual event takes place this year against a backdrop of changing economic times.
It's really going to be a discussion at a very important moment. Geopolitics is changing. We are, some people think we're in a transition. Some people think we've already entered a new era, but I think it's undeniable that you are seeing a more competitive, more contested landscape.
It comes even as President Trump's threat to impose tariffs on allies over the issue of Greenland is rankling many NATO allies. Time is up for credit card companies to comply with a new mandate from the president demanding a 10% cap on credit card interest rates by January 20th. Consumer groups, politicians, and bankers remain unclear about the plan. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bob Agnew.
News and analysis at townhall.com.
On Point Weather, brought to you by our friends at Palmetto State Armory.
On 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clear and quite chilly this evening. A low temperature dipping down to 26. Tomorrow, mostly clear again. Lots of sunshine, but we'll top out at 49 degrees as our high. We have increasing clouds for Wednesday, 54 the high temperature. Slight chance for showers both Thursday and Friday, but we're warmer. Highs both days around 60. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point. This is The Point. Make thepointradio.com. Press that button, home stew.
This is Sports Talk with Phil Kornblut and Chris Bergen. Sports Talk is heard across the state on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on SportsTalkSC.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil and Chris with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
All right, welcome in to the sanctuary city of Sports Talk, where things are safe because things are crazy out there. This is a safe zone for you in the sports world after a chaotic weekend in terms of the free agency in college football. A lot of craziness going on out there. We're going to dive into that tonight. And, of course, if you love the NFL, what a great weekend of NFL football. It just doesn't get any better. I wish I had a dog in the fight, but I don't. So I had sort of a carefree weekend watching the games. But for the most part, the games were absolutely fantastic. The crowds, the setting, the various stadiums. Man, what a great weekend it was NFL-wise. For the basketball standpoint, Clemson continues to roll, gets it done. Same thing with the South Carolina women. Of course, they had a walkover yesterday. South Carolina men, give them some credit. Bounced back from a terrible performance at Arkansas to give a good performance in a loss at Auburn. Of course, you're never satisfied with a loss, but you have to be sometimes just satisfied with the effort. And you feel like that you got a better effort this time if you're South Carolina than you did at Arkansas. We welcome back to the program a man who's been wandering the basketball countryside, but he had a good week with a pair of wins with Coastal Carolina. Chris Bergen back with us from the Bergie Palace. And you, with Coastal Carolina, you've definitely been on a roller coaster ride with this team.
There's no question. It's good to be back with you guys. I was joking with you earlier, Phil. It seems like it's been about a month since I was on Sports Talk. Not quite that long, but yeah, it was a long week last week going up to Huntington, West Virginia, picking up a really, really good win on the road. First time Coastal had ever beaten Marshall in Huntington, and just a terrific basketball game. If you didn't care who won, just going back and forth up and down the floor is really, really entertaining. And then to go to Georgia Southern on Saturday and pick up a win and snap the Eagles' 11-game home winning streak. They had not lost at home thus far this season. They were 8-0 entering play, and to actually have it go into overtime off an intentional missed free throw. And I have to back up, Phil. You know how I feel about up 3, always foul late. I finally saw it backfire against the team because Georgia Southern did that with about 4 seconds left to go in the game. They foul Coastal up 3, send Josh Beadle, the former Clemson Tiger, to the free throw line. He makes the first, intentionally misses the second one, and it bounces directly to one of the Chanticleers, Derek Green, who catches it, lays it up, and got fouled. They could have actually won the game in regulation time had Derek made the free throw. He didn't. It goes to overtime. Then Coastal wins it. And for the first time in 10 years, Coastal has won 4 consecutive road games.
Ooh.
So Justin Gray's doing a very good job of rebuilding and molding that team in sort of his own DNA and identity. And, yeah, they're starting to play some really good basketball with 3 exceptionally talented guards.
So it's starting to come together for them a little bit, and you're starting to maybe see the influence of the new coaching staff there in his second season starting to take effect a little bit.
Without a doubt. You can see the stamp all over his team. And again, that's what this team looks like. Now, next year, it's going to be an entirely different squad you would expect because at the mid-major level, really hard to maintain any consistency in terms of your players. But when you've got 3 guards that are as talented as they are in terms of A.J. Dantzler, transfer in from Lemoyne, and then, of course, as I mentioned, Josh Beadle, and then also Rasheed Jones, who was actually with the program last year, jumped in the transfer portal, got clogged and came back, and actually played at Western Carolina under Justin Gray, so he knows the system as well as anybody. And so when you've got those 3 guys in the last 2 ball games, in each the wins over Marshall and also Georgia Southern, they've combined to score over 60 points out of that trio. When you've got really good guard play in college basketball, as we all well know, you can win basketball games. And if they get anything out of their bigs up front, they can be a very difficult team to handle, and starting to really put the ball in the basket and scoring a lot of points. They really sort of were a defensive-minded team. They still play defense, but they have really turned it on here the last couple of ball games offensively, and might be a fun team to watch as we head down the backstretch of January into February.
I hope to see them maybe this weekend. So Clemson moves up to 18 in the AP men's top 25. South Carolina women stay at number 2 in the AP women's top 25. All right. We're going to have a very lengthy recruiting report coming up in just a few minutes, but things are popping even as we come on the air tonight. South Carolina and Clemson having a busy day. South Carolina having a busy weekend. And just a few minutes ago, the news was reported by Hayes Fawcett on 3 through the transfer portal website that they have. South Carolina, another offensive lineman coming on board as a free agent, agreeing to terms with the Gamecock organization. Offensive lineman Ebudike Nabugwu from Missouri State.
Very nice.
And that's about as close as I can get to that.
Very nice. I was just going to go with Ibu Inabugwu, but yeah. I think you nailed his first name too. Well done, sir.
Don't ask me to say it again. We're just going to call him Big Eb.
There we go. I'm sure that's what the coaches will call him too.
Eb.
Big E.
Do we have a size on Big Eb?
He is 6'3", 305, according to the Missouri State website, where he was most recently a member of the Bears, who are losing everybody because, of course, they lost their head coach to Coastal Carolina.
Well,
Ryan Beard.
He would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He'd be the 8th pure offensive lineman signed as a free agent and a long snapper. So 9 across the line there on the offensive side signed as free agents by the Gamecocks thus far. Now, they also signed DJ Black, a former Gamecock walk-on who left, went to Limestone for a couple of years, then ended up at UCF, continued to develop. They signed him, 6'2", 195. He's a Chapman product. So that was earlier today, and they signed others over the weekend. We'll get into all that in our recruiting report. And today, Clemson, going back to the old style of recruiting, the Tigers taking a verbal commitment from a junior college defensive tackle, Andy Baberja, 6'2", 295 from the national champion Iowa Western team. He was a first-team All-American, and he was at Nebraska. He was committed to Nebraska because as a mid-year transfer, or actually not a mid-year transfer. Well, I think he was trying to become a mid-year transfer at Nebraska, according to reporting from Sean Callahan with the Nebraska On 3 fan website. He did not have a math grade that he needed to be able to enroll at Nebraska. They referred to him as a non-qualifier in their reporting.
What?
Yes.
There's still such a thing as non-qualifiers. I thought those went away with the, recruiting visits and.
I that kind of surprised me as well, including this new term that the website people are now using called short-term signee. So when a guy signs and then goes into the portal before he even gets to spring practice or anything, like he signed in December, but now he's opting to go somewhere else, that's called a short-term signee. But anyway, Andy Baberja, 6'2", 295. He was at Nebraska. Clemson continued to recruit him while he was committed to Nebraska, and now it's worked out, and now he's changed his mind, and now he's committed to Clemson. But he can't sign until February 4th, and then he can join Clemson, I guess, in the summer would be the earliest that he could get there, which brings up the conversation, and our phone number, 888-898-2525. 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to reach us here on Sports Talk. 888-898-2525. Text line number 803-900-4847. 803-900-4847. So the big news, the historic news. This is somewhat historic. If someone can cite me another occasion of this, then this would be less historic. But I think this is historic. This is now the poster child for tampering in college athletics, I would say. The case of Luke Farrelly at Clemson, in school, taking classes, signed his scholarship deal with Clemson. Now, according to reporting by Tiger Illustrated, he did not sign any kind of an NIL contract with Clemson at the time he was at school. But, of course, he signed scholarship papers. And he had started taking classes at Clemson. And when you sign scholarship papers, that usually means hands off. That usually means the deal is done. That usually means that's always meant. Not usually. Mm-hmm. That's always meant. Deal is done, hands off, player is in the program. And Ole Miss wouldn't relent. They continued recruiting him. They continued making offers either directly to him or through his agent, which is one of the same, of course. Agent relays offer, agent relays information. So they continued to do this in the background to the point, according to Larry Williams reporting, Clemson was going to pay him between $800,000 and $1 million. His reporting is that the Mississippi offer doubled that. And so, of course, he withdraws from Clemson, turns in his computer and his schoolwork. They probably gave him an F. And
what schoolwork could he have possibly done in 2 days?
I don't know. You never had an exam the first day of class? So he opts for Ole Miss. And so you can call it what you want. You can call it tampering. You can call it never giving up. You can call it continued recruiting. Ole Miss doesn't care what the Clemson people call it. And Dabo Swinney, of course, the Clemson people on the websites are calling for Dabo Swinney to speak out and do one of his sermons and be mad and be upset and say, I told you so, and all this kind of stuff. You know what? That's not going to change a thing. The only thing that will change anything, of course, is if the NCAA or the commissioners of the ACC and the SEC somehow get together and determine there was tampering and that this is an illegal move and that the young man is ineligible to play at Ole Miss. It's the only way it would stop. And you fine Ole Miss $500,000. You come down hard.
At least.
Yeah, you fine them $500,000. You make them ineligible to play at Ole Miss, and you go on about your business. Otherwise, Ole Miss will be like, the heck with you. We did our thing. We continued to recruit to the echo of the whistle, and we got our guy. And so this is historic. Can you think of any other case where a player was actually in school taking classes and ended up, I mean, yeah, you can have a player quit school and say, hey, I'm tired of this. I'm going home. This isn't for me, and drop out of school and leave a program that way. But to be just poached from a program while you're in school taking classes, I mean, never heard of such a thing.
No, it's reprehensible, but it's Lane Kiffin. Well, excuse me, former Lane Kiffin school. Maybe he's got some leftovers. This is how you operate. So I can't really blame him for this because he's at LSU now. But it's beyond reprehensible.
Believe me, if Lane Kiffin had been there and been given the chance, he would have done it. Okay,
I have no doubt. I'm surprised he didn't try it anyway.
Guilty by reputation. Guilty by reputation. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But that being said, let me play devil's advocate with you for a moment. You talked about who is going to fine Ole Miss, because I agree with you. This is the only way you're going to stop it. If the coaches, the AFCA, whoever the coaches organization, if they literally want this stuff to stop, first off, Dabo Swinney should come out and call out directly Ole Miss and their coaching staff and saying, this is not right. We had this young man signed here. He wanted to play at Clemson. We had a contract deal with him. We were paying him X number of dollars. Just lay it out online, how much they were paying, and then say this kid got poached from us because Ole Miss is paying him X, Y, Z. He needs to come out and just lambaste them. That's the start. And maybe the NCAA, because I just don't know who's got the power now to lay the wood to Ole Miss and bring the hammer down, because, what are they going to do? Because you know what's going to happen. The NCAA is fearful that as soon as they try and hammer this kid and make him ineligible, you know what's going to happen. They're going straight across the street to district court and file a lawsuit against Ole Miss for restriction of his ability to earn money. So that's the biggest problem. I don't know how you stop it, Phil. You're right. Ole Miss, the only way you stop it is from a team perspective. You can't really necessarily stop it from the player's perspective. I don't think you can make him ineligible. But what you can do is make the team ineligible for the postseason. You can find the team. You can hammer the school who did this until this stops. But I don't know how you can directly affect the player.
How can courts shoot down every rule that an organization has from the standpoint that an organization has to have some rules? I mean, even the courts have rules. The Supreme Court has rules. Congress has rules. So, I mean, how can you just shoot down everything that has held an organization together for the better part of, 100 years?
Oh, easy.
I mean, I don't
if not longer.
I don't understand. I don't understand all that. No organization can exist unless, with a bunch of people who have different opinions and different motives and different desires, unless you have a collective group of rules that holds everybody in place. The NFL couldn't exist. And they've had some people break the rules. They've been caught, and they've been penalized in the way the NFL can penalize you. They can fine you. They can take away a draft pick. They can do things, and they do it. And they got the freedom to do it. So, if you're going to have a college organization, you got to have some rules and the freedom to enforce those rules. It's as simple as that.
I agree, and I think the only way you can do this is to go after the schools and not necessarily the players. I agree. I think you're right. I think he should be suspended, or at least declared ineligible, because he's not playing at the school where he signed and also enrolled in classes. At least and here's the problem. Is he ineligible for the upcoming fall, or is he just ineligible for the spring? That's what you have to deal with, because you're dealing with the semester. So, I mean, is he ineligible for the spring? Well, if that's the case, no big deal.
But then again,
just drop out.
Then again, too, I mean, you got to put a little something on the man here, too. You got to put a little something on the individual. I mean, you agreed to come to Clemson for X amount of dollars. You agreed to that. You gave them a handshake agreement. You gave them your word, and as soon as the next highest bid came in, you took off. This is what you face today in many cases. I'm not going to say every case, but this is what you face today in this transactional world that we're in. There's no what kind of obligation does he feel to Clemson? This is a guy who originally committed out of high school, I believe, to Arizona. Then he committed to Stanford, and then at the last moment, he left Stanford and signed with Cal. Then he plays at Cal for 1 year and transfers, and Clemson gets him. And then he stays at Clemson for 2 or 3 days, and he leaves and he goes to Ole Miss. I mean, what about his character? Heck of a football player. I'll give you that. Heck of a football player, great potential. But what kind of character are you talking about? Where is character with any of these people anymore? I don't get it. It's just flown out the window. Usually you look a man in the eye, you shake his hand, you commit. I'm happy to be a Tiger. I'm going to class. I'm taking classes. Thanks for the offer, but I'm sorry. I've already signed scholarship papers and I'm committed here. Yeah. I wonder how much his individual kid or agent pushing this. The agent, of course, he sees a much bigger take if he can get $2 million versus $1 million, right? You don't think he was encouraging this? And these agents need to be reeled in as well. I can't believe that they let him get away with this. Be right back.
It might be tough to picture your kid in college today, but it'll be here before you know it. Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 college savings plan, makes it easy to start saving right now. You can start with any amount. Savings grow tax-free, and friends and family can chip in too. Discover the smart, easy way to save today at FutureScholar.com. That's FutureScholar.com. That's FutureScholar.com.
Traveling can be the worst, especially when you can't find your favorite show. Well, don't worry. We've got the perfect way to keep up with everything happening in the Palmetto State when you're away from home. Just pull up the Chief Sports app on your mobile device, and you can listen live to Sports Talk.
All right, welcome in, everybody. Sports Talk Media Network.
So the next time you can't find us on one of our great radio affiliates, just log on to the Chief Sports app, the best way to stay connected with the Sports Talk Media Network.
Hi, this is Billy Downer from the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources. Are you looking for a safe place to shoot your rifle or handgun? Did you know that the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources operates 4 manned ranges across the state in Pickens County, Spartanburg County, Richland County, and Charleston County? For more information on our public ranges, visit dnr.sc.gov/shooting.
You've put in the work for your education. The extra early, extra late, extra work. That's because you understand education opens doors to better pay, better opportunities, and a better you. Being educated about playing the lottery is no different. It helps you be a better player, one who knows when to play and when to take a rain check. The lottery's a game, so let's keep it fun. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
Yes, Manic Monday in many places around the NFL. Man, what a weekend. So
really was.
Go ahead.
I said it really was.
Yeah.
I mean, 2 of the games in particular were just outstanding.
Well, now you know I'm not a Bears fan. I hate the Bears. I'm a Packers fan, so I have to hate the Bears. I've always hated the Bears, despised the Bears. So I'm glad they lost. I was very happy they lost. But I love the city of Chicago. It's a great city. It's a big city with a small city feel to it. Just don't go to the south side. But it's a great city. And the sports fans there are fantastic. And one of my favorite things that they do in Chicago, primarily at Blackhawks games, is a gentleman named Jim Corneliuson who sings the national anthem without any assistance.
He's incredible.
Any accompaniment. And so they bring him out in Chicago for the biggest sporting events, or I guess the biggest events. He's best known for the Blackhawks. But they had him yesterday at Soldier Field. And by the way, I mean, I hope the people who run Chicago don't, and the Bears organization, I hope they don't leave Soldier Field and move to Gary, Indiana, like they're talking about, It's just you can't mess with history like that. But anyway, before we get to the break here, if you didn't hear the beginning of the broadcast on television, you didn't hear this, you got to listen to this rendition of the national anthem prior to the Bears and the Rams game at Soldier Field last night in the snow in Chicago. Jim Corneliuson.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of free and the
I mean, seriously. And you know what really, it just moves me every time I hear it. But the cutaways to the sidelines of the players and the coaches while he was singing. You know, most of them, when they sing the national anthem, they're talking to one another. They're walking. They were at attention. They were as caught up in the national anthem as you'll ever see a group of people. Of course, the moment of the game, such a big game in Chicago. But, man, what a moment. If that didn't get you ready to play some football in the snow in Chicago, to me, that's symbolic of what's great about sports.
Could you imagine showing up, hey, I want to try out to be the national anthem singer for the Chicago Bears, and he's in front of you? I just leave. Forget this tryout.
Turn around and go home. I mean, there's the Whitney Houston Super Bowl version, and then there's that. And we'll be back.
On Point Weather, brought to you by our friends at Palmetto State Armory.
On 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clear and quite chilly this evening. A low temperature dipping down to 26. Tomorrow, mostly clear again. Lots of sunshine, but we'll top out at 49 degrees as our high. We have increasing clouds for Wednesday, 54 the high temperature. Slight chance for showers both Thursday and Friday, but we're warmer. Highs both days around 60. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
If your New Year's resolution involves more days in the woods, on the water, or at the range, then Palmetto State Armory is your go-to destination. Come in today to explore our massive selection of firearms, ammo, outdoor equipment, fishing gear, and more. Visit us today to find the area's best pricing on your favorite brands like 6 Hour, Springfield Armory, Smith & Wesson, Drake, AFTCO, and many more. Come in today to get your New Year started the right way at Palmetto State Armory.
The Point.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell will attend the Supreme Court's oral arguments Wednesday in a case involving the attempted firing of Fed Governor Lisa Cook, an unusual show of support by the central bank chair. The High Court is considering whether President Trump can fire Cook, an unprecedented attempt by the White House to remove an official appointed by former President Biden. Several faith leaders called urgently for protecting the rights of worshipers while also expressing compassion for migrants. This after a group of anti-immigration enforcement protesters disrupted Sunday services at a Southern Baptist church in St. Paul, Minnesota. Trey Turner leads the Minnesota-Wisconsin Baptist Convention, to which city's church belongs. He said churches should provide compassionate pastoral care. This is SRN News.
Are you tired of that sinking feeling when the electric bill arrives? Does the phrase peak hours trigger anxiety and a headache? Do you suffer from chronic fatigue of watching your hard-earned money evaporate right into the power grid? You may be suffering from utility pain and anxiety disorder, or UPAD. Symptoms include sweating when running the AC, a fear of turning on lights, and a general feeling of powerlessness over your energy costs.
It's time for you to try Solarist from Ken at Broker Solar. Broker Solar isn't a temporary fix, but a lasting solution with cutting-edge solar technology designed to address high energy bills at their source. Many clients have experienced immediate relief from high monthly payments with reports of increased home value and greater financial freedom. Imagine a brighter future for your home and your wallet. Side effects include the freedom to use your appliances when you want and a powerful sense of energy independence. Broker Solar, a brighter outlook for your home and wallet. Call us now, 803-807-7417. That's 807-7417 or online at brokersolar.com.
Experience the difference local craftsmanship makes at Best Mattress, serving the Midlands as a family-owned business for 97 years. West Columbia, Divine Street, or our stunning newest Lexington showroom right near the amphitheater. Discover mattresses handcrafted right here. No offshore shortcuts. Our specialists guide you to your perfect fit with a custom comfort test, and you'll be surprised just how affordable quality and durability could be. Enjoy a 90-day comfort warranty and white glove delivery. Visit bestmattress.net. Sleep local. Sleep better. Best Mattress.
Happy New Year. The holidays might be over, but something got stuck around are all those debt payments. If Christmas spending leaves you juggling multiple payments, high interest rates, and a little too much stress, it's time to relax. This January, simplify your finances with a New Year's personal loan from Founders Federal Credit Union. Consolidate debt into one payment with a quick application, a range of loan amounts, and excellent service paired with a suite of financial products and services to meet the rest of your needs. Get one payment, often at a lower rate than credit cards. Stop by one of our convenient office locations or visit foundersfcu.com/personal loans to apply for a personal loan today. Relax and start the year right with Founders Federal Credit Union. Membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply. Happy New Year from Founders Federal Credit Union.
When your temperatures swing, your comfort shouldn't. At Sweet Comfort Services, we make sure your system's ready for anything. Get our $99 preventative maintenance, a full inspection and tune-up that keeps your equipment efficient, reliable, and safe. Thinking it's time for an upgrade? We offer estimates on new Goodman and American Standard systems. You'll get honest advice, fair pricing, and expert installation. No gimmicks, no surprises. Call 803-331-8143 or visit sweetcomfortservices.com to schedule today.
The Sports Talk Recruiting Report is sponsored by Seawell's Catering.
Yeah, we got so much recruiting for you, it might take up the rest of the show. So, Bergie, thanks for joining us. Have a good night. Unless you want to comment.
Sounds good. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.
Unless you just want to jump in with commentary. Recruiting tonight, brought to you by Seawells. Another big week of the daily luncheon buffet is ahead of us. It'll be a little chilly out there, but you can warm your insides by going to Seawells, having something great to eat for lunch Tuesday through Friday from 11 till 2. And for your upcoming event later on this spring, this summer, maybe you're thinking about even into next fall. Of course, don't schedule anything on a football weekend. That's a home weekend. Why ruin somebody's plans by making them go to something they really don't want to go to and miss a football game? You know, how many people face that? Be smart, people, when you're planning. And be smart and call Seawells, because your plans are no good if the execution is no good. And Seawells will take your plans and they will execute to perfection. 803-771-7385, online at SeawellsCateringSC.com. Okay, where do you begin? Well, let's start with defensive tackle Andy Baburja, 6'2", 295, Iowa Western Junior College. Visited Clemson January 8th. He did not commit to the Tigers then. Instead, he went on a visit to Nebraska, and soon after, he announced a commitment to the Cornhuskers. As a junior college prospect, Baburja cannot sign until February 4th, so as long as he wanted to be recruited, he remained an open target, and Clemson continued to recruit the first-team junior college All-American, and on Monday afternoon, he announced a change in plans with Clemson, now his destination. Now, Sean Callahan, the publisher of the Nebraska On3 website, reported that Baburja received a recent math grade that left him short of qualifying to enroll this semester at Nebraska. And he has to redo that course, is what he reported. You know, it's really funny how these insiders can get information on academics that's typically, you know, hush-hush. You don't talk about you don't talk about, but it's out there. He reported it. So there you go. It's amazing. Anyway, this season, in helping to lead his team to the JC National Championship, Baburja totaled 45 tackles, 19.5 tackles for loss, and 11 sacks. He had 78 tackles and 14 sacks in his 2 seasons at Iowa Western. Some of the other offers for the native of Crystal Lake, Illinois, included Arkansas, Purdue, Michigan State, Texas Tech, Iowa, Penn State, and Auburn. Baburja is the 22nd non-free agent commitment or signee for Clemson's 2026 class, the second defensive tackle. So, last night, the Tigers, well, everybody's been watching the free agent market, the transfer portal, John. Clemson actually went out, got a commitment from a true high school kid, wide receiver Cam Blivens, 6'2", 175 of Nashville. He's the, he was the 21st high school signee for the Tigers, the 4th at wide receiver. Not really a signee yet. He's actually a commitment. He can't sign until Feb 4. He also plays basketball for Lipscomb Academy. He was once committed to Columbia. He decommitted December 12th. He also had offers from Pitt, Princeton, Yale, Southern Miss, Appalachian State, UConn, Army, Navy, Toledo, and others. He took an official to Princeton last summer. This season, he was named first-team All-State as an athlete. Don't have any football numbers on him, but this basketball season, he's averaging 23 points and 6 rebounds per game. Wow, now South Carolina. You heard us off the top of the show. The newest commitment from the free agent market, soon to be a signee if he follows through. Offensive lineman Ebubidike Nabugwu. I don't think that matches what I said the first time around, but it's close enough. 6'3", 305 from Missouri State. He's out of Baltimore, began his career at Delaware State. 2 years to play. Started all 12 games this past season. The same amount the year prior with the Blue Hens. He's the 8th free agent offensive lineman signed by the Gamecocks and the 25th overall. 25 right now. They might not be done. Here's the funny thing. They're bringing in people that nobody really have not reported on. They're bringing in people that nobody knew, that at least publicly, that the Gamecocks were recruiting these folks. And then you see, their agent puts the information out there to the networks, and bang, you got yourself another signee. Now, today as well, the Gamecocks signed or got the commitment from receiver DJ Black, 6'3", 195. He began his career at South Carolina out of Chapman High School as a walk-on. He left USC, went to Limestone, where Mike Furry was his head coach for 1 year. Mike Furry now the receivers coach at South Carolina, so all this makes sense. And Black then went to UCF, and he developed into a quality receiver. So when he was at Limestone, he appeared in 21 games, had over 1,000 receiving yards, 14 touchdowns. At UCF last season, he had 22 catches, 273 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He's the 4th receiver USC has taken from the portal, John, and he is the 3rd to come from UCF. They've taken 3 players from UCF. Okay. Hey, if you like a place where you shop, keep on shopping, right?
And Phil, if I may add something, Wes Mitchell tweeted this out earlier. He actually wrote a story a while back, much like us. He follows recruiting clearly. And at the time that DJ Black came out of high school as a preferred walk-on at Carolina, he was 5'6".
Woo.
He's now 6'3". I mean, you want to talk about growth spurts. No wonder he started to excel at Limestone and there was a pretty solid receiver last year for UCF. The Gamecocks, this kid may actually turn out to be a darn good player that they were able to. This would be the boomerang effect, right?
Absolutely.
You start someplace, you go all the way around and you come back. So this would not be a clog. This would be a boomerang.
All right, also South Carolina over the weekend, tight end Max Drag, 6'4", 250 from UCF. So he's coming to South Carolina. He's a native of Chapin, began his career at Appalachian State, played in 11 games at UCF, started 1, had 3 catches, 19 yards, and 2 seasons at App, played in 11 games, had 1 catch for 11 yards. Obviously, he's primarily a blocker. He's the only tight end signed out of free agency by the Gamecocks for this class. They also signed 1 in their high school group. They have 3 veteran tight ends set to return. Drag, by the way, is the son of the late former Clemson offensive lineman Mark Drag. Little note to keep in mind there. Also over the weekend, offensive tackle Armando Nieves, 6'7", 315, New Mexico State. He signed with South Carolina. In fact, they actually have announced that one. He's a native of Phoenix, began his career at Sioux Falls, University of Sioux Falls. You ever heard of the University of Sioux Falls?
I have not.
Well, now you have. He was there in 2022 before transferring to Hutchinson Junior College. He redshirted his first season, and he played in 5 games in his second. He went to the Aggies, and then he became their starting right tackle. He logged over 600 snaps. According to PFF, he had a run blocking grade of 59.6 and a pass blocking grade of 51.2. What is the, I don't know, is 100 the best? I don't know what the scale is.
Good question.
All right, and also over the weekend, the Gamecocks, they took wide receiver Charlie Mullally, 6 feet 195 from Holy Cross. So he is out of East Fishkill, New York. East Fishkill.
Awesome.
But their rivals are West Fishkill. He spent 3 seasons at Holy Cross. He played in 18 games, had 25 catches, 336 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Okay. Now, where are we going next? A prospect, a junior college prospect, who visited South Carolina over the weekend. And he is the nephew of former Gamecock star Devin Taylor, a defensive end. And he's out of Beaufort. Offensive tackle Adrian Lamb, 6'5", 295. He attends Georgia Military College. Came in for an official over the weekend with South Carolina. And they offered. His interest from the recruiters has really gone up because he got his GPA up to a level where the major programs could now step up and offer him. So the Gamecocks hit him up and brought him in for the visit. He met all the coaches, and he talked with the new offensive line coach, Randy Clements. Said he had a good conversation, talked about academics, need to keep the GPA up to match what they're doing at South Carolina. They said they could see him fitting in very well. He's a very aggressive guy. He's a power offensive lineman. Of course, his uncle, he's very close to his uncle, had a lot of respect for him when he was at South Carolina, looked up to him. So he's also made an official to Alabama. He did that midweek, and Alabama wants him. Very impressed, of course, with Alabama. He might visit Missouri the end of this month. They have not yet offered. He was part of 2 of the best teams in recent history at Beaufort, playing in back-to-back state championship games and winning the 3A title in 2022 for that school's first championship since 1945. Iowa Western quarterback Malachi Marshall out of South Point. He committed to Florida State over the weekend after taking an official visit with the Seminoles. He said it was the best visit he'd been on. He loved the people at Florida State. They showed him a lot of love. They showed him how he could play right away. No red shirt for him at Florida State. If he can come in and win the job, he can come in and win the job. They're going to give him that full opportunity. Of course, he visited South Carolina the previous week, and they liked him too, but they wanted him to redshirt this coming season, which he was agreeable to doing. But the opportunity to go in and play right away at Florida State, and he said the offense at Florida State just fits him perfectly. He can slide right in. So he chose Florida State. So today, South Carolina did announce the signings of Mullally, defensive end Caleb Herring of Tennessee, Nieves, and Drag. South Carolina target, one-time target, Bucknell free agent, offensive lineman Dara Adeyemi, agreed to terms with Stanford. He was scheduled to visit South Carolina this past weekend, but did not make it in, and again has agreed to terms with Stanford. At that point, by our account, he was the last of the 38 free agents that South Carolina brought in for a visit or scheduled for a visit or attempted to schedule. But then again, since I wrote that, they signed another offensive lineman. So who knows how many others they're still working. All right, we talked about the Luke Farrelly situation, so no need to dive back into that. So let's move on to some other stuff. Of course, Michael Smith was another interesting case. He was the former USC tight end who quit the team in October because he didn't want to burn his redshirt season. And then he entered the portal, and then shortly after that, he signed with Kentucky. He signed papers. He signed NIL papers with, maybe we should call them LIE papers, like I lie. I lie. NIL papers, he signed those, but then decided he wanted to come back to South Carolina. And that created quite a stir and a stink. Was Syracuse going to release him and could he get out of it, or would South Carolina take him back? Anyway, over the weekend, it turns out now that he is headed to Ole Miss. He announced that he is headed to Ole Miss, or it was announced that he is headed to Ole Miss. All right. Former South Carolina defensive end Desmond Umeozulu is headed to Alabama after visiting there. He has committed to Alabama. Former South Carolina offensive lineman Jatavius Shivers signed with Purdue. Former Clemson defensive end Marcus Dixon with Oregon. Former Coastal defensive lineman Jordan Mack with Baylor. This is interesting. Defensive end Shandavian Bradley from Oklahoma State is headed to Coastal Carolina. I followed him coming out of high school in Florida, and then in junior college. He was offered by South Carolina and Clemson, and then he signed with Tennessee. He then moved to junior college before going to Oklahoma State. I mean, he was a pretty highly regarded player, so maybe Coastal's got themselves a player there. Defensive back Jesse Powell II is transferring from Elon to Coastal, and linebacker Jordan Thompson is headed to Coastal from Western Carolina. South Florence product running back Trey Leonard is leaving James Madison. Offensive tackle Brady Hull has set an official to South Carolina for June 19th, as has his, who could be a running mate with him at offensive tackle, and that would be Max Hiller, has also set June 19th with the Gamecocks. Woodruff running back Aiden Gibson was offered today by UConn. Clemson and South Carolina target linebacker Jalathan Mayfield was offered by Texas, and he was at Kentucky over the weekend. Clemson offensive line coach Matt Luke visited with offensive lineman Reed Ramser of Orlando on Friday. Syracuse offered 2029 Irmo wide receiver Corey Miller. All right, we continue. Free agent defensive lineman Brian Taylor, 6'5", 295 from Florida, was at Tennessee on Sunday, and according to Paul Strelo of Tiger Illustrated, he was to visit Clemson today. He's a Houston native who spent 2 years in junior college before 2 seasons with the Gators. This past season, 284 snaps, 25 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, and 2 sacks. Former South Carolina defensive tackle Jerome Simmons is headed to Oregon from ULM. He's out of Bamberg Earhart. He began his career in junior college. He spent the 24 season with South Carolina and redshirted. And then he had 10 tackles in 8 games this season, and now he's moving to Oregon. Former USC offensive lineman Ryan Brubaker headed to Virginia. Former Clemson running back Keith Adams Jr. headed to Georgia State. Former Irmo running back Jaden Allen Hendricks transferring to Coastal from Oklahoma State. Former Coastal defensive end Ezekiel Durham Campbell headed to West Virginia.
Yeah. We could see him first game of the year.
Cool.
Coastal opens up in Morgantown.
You get to go back up there into West Virginia.
Go back home. Yeah, country roads, baby.
One-time Catawba Ridge quarterback Jaden Davis moving from Michigan to East Tennessee. Cornerback Josh Dobson, formerly of Catawba Ridge, now at Huff. He was at Texas A&M on Saturday for a junior day. Of course, he met up with Coach Mike Elko. Lucy Beckham, offensive lineman Ty Johnson was offered by Georgia while he was on a visit there. His dad played for the Bulldogs. Today, he was offered by Duke. South Carolina target linebacker A.J. Randall was offered by Georgia Saturday. One-time Clemson offensive lineman Zach Owens is headed to Missouri from Mississippi State. Former Clemson defensive end David Ojebi of Norfolk State took a visit to Oklahoma State on Saturday. Irmo offensive tackle Nate Carson was offered by Kentucky. South Carolina secondary coach Torian Gray today visited with cornerback Jaden Aparicio Bailey of Birmingham. And South Carolina target defensive end Abraham Cisse was offered by Missouri. Okay, unless something's happened in the last 20 minutes while we went over recruiting, that is recruiting for tonight. Anything else happen while we were doing that?
I don't think so.
I mean,
I kind of lost track, quite frankly.
I tried to make it as plain and simple as possible, but there's just some notes you can't overlook.
Here's what's fascinating, Phil, on social media now for college football. They're actually focusing on, the national championship game here in a half an hour.
No, they're not.
Instead of the transfer portal. How about that?
Do you know next year's national championship game is not until January 25th? Think about that.
If you missed the home equity line of credit from Founders Federal Credit Union, well, we have good news. The offer has been extended, but don't wait. You only have until January 31st to get up to $750 toward closing costs when you open a Founders HELOC. That's more in your pocket for home improvements, debt consolidation, major purchases, unexpected expenses, or a much-needed vacation. The possibilities are endless. Imagine starting the new year with financial flexibility and peace of mind. But hurry, this special offer ends January 31st. Save more and jumpstart your year. Plus, you'll enjoy competitive rates and flexible terms to fit your budget. Visit foundersfcu.com/HELOC for more information. Membership qualification required. Institution NMLS. Identifier number 410646. Equal housing lender. See website for details.
Looking for a new car? You need to think about a Kia. If you're in the market for an SUV, consider the new Kia Telluride or the new Kia Sorento. They're big, they're strong, and loaded with tech for thousands less than Honda or Toyota. You'll see the difference right away, and you get double the warranty. Plus, you get the JT's Advantage million-mile warranty and about 1,000 other things you have to see to believe. If you want the biggest bang for your buck, it's time to think about a new JT's Kia. We're serious about saving you money.
Just like in college basketball today, sometimes it's about who you bring in off the bench to provide that extra spark. At StraightUpSports.net, we're excited to announce the addition of Brett Friedlander, a longtime ACC insider columnist, to our all-star lineup that includes Bob Gillespie, Scott Kiefer, Mark Sturgis, and more. At StraightUpSports.net, it's always about the stories. Check out this all-star lineup at StraightUpSports.net or at Straight Up Sports on Facebook.
Hey, think about warmer weather. It'll be back soon. Need to make your plans to get to the beach and enjoy the upcoming warmer weather. Coming up this spring, this summer, the beach in South Carolina, you can't beat it. If you can't beat it, then join it. Let Jimmy Smith find you a great place to stay. Work with his folks at James Smith Real Estate. Their phone number is 843-237-4246. Online at pauliesvacationrentals.com. Your perfect beach getaway. Just a call away, 843-237-4246. And our poll question of the week is up and available for you on our X account, which is SC Sports Now, SC Sports Now, and on our website, SportsTalkSC.com, presented by Larry Lucas, State Farm Insurance, in Columbia, 803-799-1998, and in Lexington, 803-359-0770. So the voting last week ended with Reed Sharpia being voted as the College Football Player of the Year in South Carolina from Newberry, and deservedly so. Question now
I was going to say, well done, listeners.
Yes.
Picked the right guy. Well done.
And who was the College Football Coach of the Year in South Carolina? And I mean, 4 in our state had standout seasons.
Ooh.
Chinnis Berry, Steve Englehart, Todd Knight, and Ron Dickerson Jr. I mean, Chinnis Berry won a national championship,
right.
An HBCU, a MEAC championship. Steve Englehart did things at Presbyterian they hadn't done in who knows how long. Todd Knight got to the D2 semifinals and won the SAC, and Ron Dickerson Jr. They won their conference. No, they finished second in their conference, but they made the D2 playoffs, and they got to the. I want to say they got to the third round before they lost there at Albany. Anyway, so far we have Todd Knight at 80% of the voting for Todd Knight. Chinnis Berry has 13.3%. Steve Englehart has 6.6%. So go to our website, go to our X page, and you can get your vote in for that this week. Have you made your vote?
Listeners up in Newberry all over our Twitter poll.
They should be. They should be. Jimmy Coggins has probably voted 10 times on 10 different computers. So have you, in your mind, have you made your internal prediction on tonight's game?
Yeah, well, yes, I have. And part of it is a heart pick, but also part of it is, I think, some common sense here. I think Indiana wins, and I think they may win. I think they cover easily and may win by 2 touchdowns. I just think they are too efficient. I saw a stat today that just blew my mind. In their 2 playoff games, Fernando Mendoza has thrown 8 touchdowns and has 5 incompletions. Not interceptions, incompletions in those 2 games.
Yeah.
They're just too good across the board. I just think they're the better football team, and I hope they finish it off. It will be an amazing story for college football.
I'm taking Miami, and I'll tell you why after the break.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. During a Sunday service at City's Church in St. Paul, Minnesota yesterday, demonstrators disrupted worship there.
So you can see the protesters here have gathered over here. They're in the middle of the church. So in the beginning of the church service, the pastor was speaking.
That sound from the Center for Baptist Leadership at townhall.com. GOP strategist Aaron McGuire is calling for prosecutions for the protesters.
If there was attacks, if people broke the laws, not only should there be a thorough and full investigation, but the long arm of justice and the heavy hand of the law should be absolutely brought down on these individuals, and they should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
McGuire spoke with the Salem Radio Network. The National Religious Broadcasters is strongly condemning what it calls the premeditated attack. Iranian state TV channels have been hacked.
Hackers targeted Iranian state television and they disrupted the satellite transmission of several channels. That disruption saw images of Iran's exiled crown prince, Reza Pahlavi, play. It included him calling on security forces to lay down their weapons. No group claimed responsibility, though Pahlavi was quick to highlight it as he's trying to put himself forward as a leader in those nationwide protests that led to this crackdown against demonstrators in Iran. Activists in the United States say that at least 3,900 people have been killed so far, and they warn that death toll could rise.
Correspondent John Gambrell reporting. More than 100 vehicles smashed into each other or slid off the interstate near Grand Rapids, Michigan on Monday as snow fueled by the Great Lakes blanketed the state. No stocks today as Wall Street was closed for the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. More at townhall.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Chuck McDowell here with Wesley Financial Group. My 78-year-old friend Linda called me yesterday. She bought a $40,000 timeshare in Nashville. She was told it was a great investment and that he would personally book all her vacations. All lies. She called our sales rep, Chris, the next morning at 4:57 a.m. to cancel, and she was told it was too late. You had your chance yesterday. Another lie. She has 10 days in Tennessee. I am in a war with the timeshare industry because people keep buying their lies, and they don't want me to help you. If you need a timeshare, I'm sure one of the 3,500 people that call my office weekly would love to give you one of theirs. Or go online and pay $1 for it. But stop paying $40,000 for lies. It's time to stop the insanity. Don't wait another day.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit. 800-364-7711. That's 800-364-7711. 800-364-7711.
The time is up for credit card companies to comply with a new mandate from President Trump. Bob Agnew reports.
President Trump has demanded a 10% cap on credit card interest rates by January 20th. Consumer groups, politicians, and bankers remain unclear about the plan, including what would be the consequences for those who fail to comply. Researchers estimate Americans could save $100 billion each year if rates are capped, but banks might lose significant revenues. It's a prospect that has already sparked a loss in share prices for many major credit card companies. Bob Agnew reports.
Firefighters in Chile are battling forest fires that started on Sunday, killing at least 19 people and leaving around 1,500 people homeless. 5 large wildfires remain active Monday in the center and south of the country. News and analysis at townhall.com. From Washington, I'm Keith Peters.
On Point Weather, brought to you by our friends at Palmetto State Armory.
On 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clear and quite chilly this evening. A low temperature dipping down to 26. Tomorrow, mostly clear again. Lots of sunshine, but we'll top out at 49 degrees as our high. We have increasing clouds for Wednesday, 54 the high temperature. Slight chance for showers both Thursday and Friday, but we're warmer. Highs both days around 60. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
Is The Point. Make thepointradio.com.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point. The Point.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number. 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil and Chris with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
All right, so why do I think Miami is going to win tonight? Well, somebody's got to pick Miami. Sure. Number one. I know Indiana has been on a heater. I mean, they have looked great. I'm not taking a thing away. I'm not taking a thing away from them. They have played great football. I don't know that you can play any better than they have played. I don't know that they can reach another level. Now, maybe playing at the level they've been playing at will be good enough. But I think when I look at Miami, I look, first of all, at an outstanding defense with some of the best defensive players in the country on that defense. And I mean, you're talking about Reuben Bain. I want to see how well Indiana handles him coming off the edge. But I think one of the real difference makers here will be one of the players who's one of the most exciting players in the country now is Malachi Toney.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And getting him out in space and that speed, I think he's going to make some big plays. And Miami's ability, and I know everything I'm saying about Miami, Indiana can do the same thing. But I think Miami's ability to run the ball, the way their running game has been so strong, and they've been so good against the run. They're only giving up 86 yards per game on the ground, and they're averaging 155. Their running game has become so good. And, you know, Carson Beck is He's not a spectacular quarterback by any means, but he's a guy that's been in this setting and can handle it, playing in his hometown, or not his hometown, but the school's hometown, playing in there on the field that they play on. There's going to be a sense of, certainly a certain amount of comfort on the side of Miami playing in their own stadium, and maybe there should be, you couldn't foresee this, but maybe there should be a rule that you can't play the national championship in a stadium used by one of the teams that could be playing in there one day, which would rule out Miami.
Make it
until the Hurricanes get their own on-campus facility. As long as they're playing at Hard Rock, you can't use Hard Rock in the playoffs, because is it any kind of advantage for Miami to be playing in their home park?
I'd be curious tonight to see if Indiana actually does not have more fans at the game than Miami does.
I'm not talking about. Fan-wise, I get that. Indiana's fans have gone crazy over all this, and Miami will have a big turnout as well. But still, Miami's been able to sleep in their own beds if they wanted to. They haven't had to do the travel thing, et cetera, et cetera. It might be just a little thing, but little things can mean something big in a big game like this. So I think we're going to see – these are two really good defensive teams. I think you're going to see some great defense both ways. I think you're going to see a pretty low-scoring game. And, I'll go ahead and give you a score. I'll go with Miami here in a close one and a low-scoring one. I'm going to go with Miami 21-17.
I could deal with the final score like that. I'd like it to be competitive, which Indiana's games have not been. I'm like Zach. You get to a point now, I just want to see a good football game tonight. I don't want to turn it off at halftime because it's over. But let's assume for a moment you're not right, and Indiana does win, like I think they will tonight, and wins relatively comfortably. Where does this Indiana team stack up in terms of greatest of all time?
Well,
what do you think?
They'll be the only 16-0, right?
That and what a Princeton or Yale team from or Penn team from the 1930s. I think, yeah.
Like I said, they'll be the only 16-0 team that matters.
Right,
that matters.
Exactly.
So Clemson fans are rooting like heck for Miami, and not because they're an ACC brother. They want that 15-0 Clemson record to stand. Mm-hmm. Right? Because right now, Clemson's the only 15-0 team in the history of college football, besides that one back in the 1930s you're talking about.
Right.
Clemson
what was the LSU team? Did LSU not go 15-0?
Good question. That's a good question.
With Joe Burrow and those guys? Because to me, that may be the best, and I'm putting this up there with the Vince Young Texas teams and the Southern Cal that we cheated our backsides off to win national championship teams. That LSU team, especially offensively, may have been the best collection of talent I've seen. I've laid eyes on in college football.
Yeah, that was a great that was so I was at that game. That was the national championship game in the Superdome.
Yeah, they went 15-0. That team did.
Yeah. So hey, we got to have a little Mr. Producer. We got to have a little siren action here Thank you. I wish you'd be a little quicker with that. I wish you'd be a little more aware, a little bit on top of your game.
I was working on sending the complete list of 15-0 teams to Bergie.
It's okay. We don't need that.
There you go. And Josh has found several of them.
I prefer the siren to be used in a timely manner.
Read them out, Bergie.
What's that take us up to now? Money-wise?
I'll pull that up. Let's see.
All right. So
we're now at 9 on the year.
9. Okay. It's early. God, if we average like 15 a month, we're talking about some money here.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, I like Miami. You like Indiana. Plumber, what you got? You got a pick in the game?
Indiana, by far.
Oh, okay. I feel really good about my pick then.
9 million to 0.
I feel really good about my pick. Hey, I was thinking about this. You're TJ Finley and you make an NFL team, and you're the starting quarterback for that NFL team, and you're on Monday Night Football, and they do the little starting lineup introduction.
Right.
I want to hear him go, TJ Finley, LSU, Auburn, Texas State, Western Kentucky, Georgia State, Incarnate Word. No degree from any of them. Not a degree, no degrees. But I played for them all. They've got
last night. I think it was last night. One of the guys, either for Chicago or the Rams, actually mentioned like Plummer did in our Pick'ems. He mentioned his middle school.
Yeah.
I mentioned my.
That's right. You did Play Pal's daycare.
Yeah, Play Pal. Joshua Cohen, Play Pal's daycare.
I think wasn't that Jordan McFadden in the lineup for Chicago on the offensive line, the former Tiger? Pretty sure it was, and I think he said Spartanburg High School when he was introduced. When he introduced himself, I think he said Spartanburg High School. You know, these guys, come on, man, give your college some credit. Use your college name and give them a little shout out. But I thought that'd be kind of funny. TJ Finley with all those different schools.
List them all.
Committed.
That would be great.
Commitment doesn't mean a thing, and neither does a degree. All right, let's get to some text messages here, brought to you by Larry Lucas Insurance in Columbia. This is from the 803. Phil, in regards to tampering, these same DEI judges who are ruining the country are the same ones ruining college football. I think the judges have made some bad decisions because I don't think they understood. I mean, they made decisions that sent an entire industry into chaos. I mean, the decisions they've made have turned an entire industry, if you want to consider college sports an industry, they've turned it on its head, without thinking about what are the ramifications going to be. I mean, their feelings were that college football, college sports, the administrators were acting outside the law when it came to dealing with the players, with the athletes, and that they deserve more compensation than simply a scholarship and everything that came with that. That's what they ruled. I mean, I don't know what they base that on, because they're not employees and they're not supposed to be, they're not in a job situation. It's not how it's ever been. They're not employees. It was never presented as a job. It was presented as a part of your scholastic activities. And nobody makes you go to college. Nobody makes you play college sports. You want to do that. It's something you choose to do. You would think that if an organization has a set of rules and you choose to go into that organization, that you would have to live by those rules. You choose to go there. Nobody made you. They offered you this opportunity to get a free education and also play sports at the same time. In return, as it turned out, as college sports grew and grew and grew, it generated millions of dollars. Millions of dollars, okay? But what we forget is those millions of dollars generated primarily by football, those millions of dollars go to support everything else in athletics at those schools. So you're taking away from everything else that you were supporting through those millions of dollars now to have to pay the big dollars to a few people. Really, it's a few people. You might not have seen this, Bergie. Maybe you did. There was a report last week from the commission. They put out their quarterly report. The average NIL deal that was approved by the commission was about $7,400.
I did see that.
Yeah.
And so what that sort of told me is the outrageous sums of money we're hearing for the top flight players, the Lenore Sellers, the Cade Klubniks of the world, how much little money are the majority of players getting to bring that average all the way down well below $1 million to just barely, not even $10,000.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so don't forget here, too, before all this went down, the NCAA had relented in a number of ways and loosened up in a number of ways, and they were paying the athletes. Remember, the athletes were getting stipends of upwards of $4,000 to $5,000 per athlete per semester. So you were getting $10,000 plus, depending on which school you were going to, what the cost of attendance was. I think that's how they figured that out. But players were getting money. It took them a while to get to that point, a lot of pressure, but they got to that point where they were getting money. They were getting everything else paid for, and they were able to take care of the other sports that don't make any money, and carry all these other sports successfully. And I know the big gripe is, well, look at all the money the coaches are making. The players should be making that same money, Well, I mean, it all depends on how you want to look at it. The coaches are grown men and women, and they worked to get to that point, in some cases 15, 20 years, to get to the point where they were making whatever the market was paying coaches at that point in time. You're a high school guy coming out of high school, and you're not, playing the game is not supposed to be a function of an employee. You're not in a job per se. And I just don't think they used common sense when they shot down all these rules and regulations from the NCAA. I don't think they thought about, well, what's this going to mean down the road. They just did it because they said, well, it doesn't fit the description of the kind of rules we should have in place in the workplace here, And they didn't provide any protections for the NCAA, no antitrust protections to allow them to do anything to put down any kind of guardrails to keep this kind of stuff from happening. And so this is what you've got. You do have complete chaos is what you have when you can go and take a player out of a school.
Yeah.
Somebody else sent us another text message, and thank you. This is from the 803. The poster child for the transfer portal, John, is Mensa. Miami got all the playoff money because of Clemson and Florida State suing the ACC and then turning that money into signing the quarterback, the team that got them from the team that got them in the playoff. You're right, Darryl.
That's a great point.
That's a great point. Yeah, and he signed here's the thing. He signed a 2-year deal for a total of $8 million. Okay? So he's leaving that, $4 million a year. He's leaving that. So what do you think if he ends up at Miami, which people are speculating, how much do you think Miami is going to be willing to pay him? $6 million?
Oh, my gosh. Oh, yeah, easy.
I mean, what does it take?
Here's the other irony that our texter brings up, Phil. Had Duke just lost that game, Virginia had gotten the ACC championship. I believe at the time they would have been high enough ranked-wise to bounce out either James Madison. So Miami would not have gotten in, you wouldn't think. And then Virginia would be able to split their money. No, I guess Virginia keeps it too. It's the ACC rule, not just Miami. So never mind.
Yep.
I was just trying to figure out Duke may have messed itself up a couple of ways.
This whole thing with Luke Ferrelli would never probably have happened if Ole Miss doesn't lose the linebacker who originally started at Clemson, then transferred to Ole Miss. He's leaving Ole Miss to go to LSU, so that opened up a spot at Ole Miss, and they took the money probably that was going to go to him, T.J. Daugherty, put that in a package for this guy, and takes this guy from Clemson. I mean, round and round we go. All right, we'll hit the break and come back with more in just a moment. Phone number 888-898-2525. Text line number is 803-900-4847. It's Sports Talk on a manic Monday across the state on the Sports Talk Media Network.
There's a lot of things we take for granted in our lives. Your home's AC will run cool. Your drive-through coffee will be hot. And the car will start when it's time to take your kids to school. It's when things don't go as planned that you start thinking about who to call and where to turn. The good thing is, you can prepare for life's most difficult days by calling the Larry Lucas Agency today. Larry is a State Farm agent that has been taking care of people across South Carolina for more than 2 decades. You probably have insurance, but switching is easy, and bundling can save you hundreds or more. Most importantly, the Larry Lucas Agency can help you choose the protection you want at the price you want. All backed by South Carolina's #1 home and auto insurance company. Visit LarryLucasAgency.com today or give Larry a call at 803-799-1998. Like a good neighbor, Larry Lucas State Farm is there.
Make your plans now to get to the coast for the Palmetto State's premier baseball showcase. The Classic, March 5th through 8th at Mike Johnson Park in Georgetown. Now in its 36th year, the Classic features the best high school players and teams from across South Carolina. Don't miss your chance to see the state's top Major League Baseball prospects and title contenders at the Classic. Presented by Coastal Chevrolet Cadillac Nissan. There'll be games and contests, including a home run derby throughout the weekend. Visit theclassicgtown.com for tickets and more information. The Classic, showcasing South Carolina's finest in high school baseball, March 5th through the 8th in the state's best ballpark, Mike Johnson Park in Georgetown.
Hi, Phil Kornblut here with our good friend George Bryan III, heard every Friday night on Birdies, Bogeys, and Biceps right here on Sports Talk. George, the Tsunami Bar, a very valuable tool for golfers. Why is that?
Well, the first thing that I say is the tempo. It's the only tool out there that allows the study of tension right from the first grab to be expressed, and rhythm and tempo is what makes the bar work, and it gives you something awfully special to keep those hands soft and get that rhythm going.
Learn more about Tsunami Bar technology by clicking on the digital ad on our website, SportsTalkSC.com, and save 5% by purchasing online using the promo code BBB5. All right. You might have noticed Eli Ellis didn't play for the Gamecocks on Saturday. We now know why. It turns out that Eli Ellis and the plumber have a class together at South Carolina, and Eli was, minding his own business, walking out of class, talking to a beautiful woman, and plumber was stumbling out of class, talking to no one. He stepped on his ankle.
Other way around.
Oh, my
I
gosh.
was talking to a woman, and he was trying to pass me, get to his seat, and probably do some schoolwork or something, whatever those kind of nerds do, I don't know what they do. And anyways, he kicked me in my ankle, and I, swooped him and made him fall on his butt. That's why
so
he was
you're
out,
the reason he missed the game
I
Saturday.
beat his butt. Yeah, that's what happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, keep it straight. Back to the, let's go to the phone lines, 888-898-2525. Hank in Columbia. You're up tonight on Sports Talk. Good to have you. Welcome in.
Hey, Corn.
Yes, sir.
This whole money thing, everybody has to take a little part in their blame in this, and including the NCAA. The NCAA in their control, but coaches and everything also, because back when I was going to school and they were having these scholarships, you saw players, they had the roost at Carolina, but the players were intermingled, coming through the cafeterias. Players were with the school, and the players during the off seasons had an actually real off season, and then all of a sudden, now the players didn't have an off season. All of a sudden, the NCAA wanted the best product it could, so coaches were being able to meet with 80 players through the summer, the spring, and May nests. So then now players didn't have jobs, and then the NCAA started doing these things where instead of you playing 1 o'clock or 7 o'clock, when we were in school, and those were the two game times, it was like 7 o'clock until it got cold, and it was 1 o'clock or 3 o'clock. It started to be 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, Thursday night, Friday night. And so they started creating a model for them to just load up on money, which drove up the coach's salary. And once the coach's salary started ballooning like that, hey, we say these coaches coach 10 years to get to that point. But these players now playing top one at 6 and 7, and the money that the players through high school are putting out going to camps to get recruited to go to these teams. Everybody, the players, I don't like it that it's out of hand with the players and all this money. So I ain't speaking just on their behalf. But everybody's got their little hand in it, including the NCAA that couldn't, I remember, Corn, you saying this back in, I can't remember, the mid-'90s, when all of a sudden they had that day where They started the basketball game at 12 midnight, and there was one at 2 and 4. Was it 24 hours of basketball?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was sort of a, that was sort of a unique.
It's gonna be a problem.
Yeah, that was just sort of a unique thing to kick off basketball. I didn't have a problem with that because that was kind of fun. You had fans in the stands in their pajamas. That was an ESPN creation with college basketball to help promote the sport. I get that, but you're right. Now the fact that they play college football games all days, all times, for the purpose of television is ridiculous. It really is, and especially when I hate to even call it a broadcast, when it's nothing but on a stream, and you're playing games at these weird times, and the only way to see it's on a stream, not over the air television. I mean, come on, that doesn't deserve special treatment or need special treatment. So yeah, I think you're right about that. The NCAA got greedy, got heavy-handed, but the NCAA is the schools, and I mean the schools pushed for this. They approved it. They voted for it. They agreed to it. They let it happen. Yeah.
I know that's why I say, Corn, they can't say the woe is me type deal because as I know from some players that they get their haircut with, they were the ones. But after 4 years, having these medical injuries and things that the minute that their eligibility was up, the school wasn't covering anymore. And yet they were looking at coaches getting $10, $11 million salaries, and it seemed like it just kept on ballooning up. So you knew when the court cases came, if they ever looked at all of that, they still have not spent as much money as they got off those players. And something's up with this average. Yeah, okay, an average deal of $7,500. So the math ain't mathing, Corn. When you hear people say, "Well, they're going to give Kiffin $25 million for NIL, and you're going to give Mississippi $13 million," and we see the numbers out there. And if you go over to the complex, even at USC, and you look at the cars in the parking lot, ain't no average $7,500 deals going out to pay for them cars.
Well, I mean, we don't know. Thank you very much. You don't know what kind of deals these guys are getting from the standpoint of the automobiles. I mean, are they loaning them to them? I don't know. I mean, I have no idea because everything is in the dark, Bergie. Everything is. Yep. You can't get any information. The state legislature has moved to prevent you from FOIing any of this information, which and that's kind of I do understand. I mean, the legislature is made up of Gamecock fans and Tiger fans, and the lobbies for those two athletic programs. The lobbyists went to these people and said, we need this because we don't want the outside, we don't want the public to know what we're spending on these players. It'd be counterproductive.
On Point Weather, brought to you by our friends at Palmetto State Armory.
On 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clear and quite chilly this evening. A low temperature dipping down to 26. Tomorrow, mostly clear again. Lots of sunshine, but we'll top out at 49 degrees as our high. We have increasing clouds for Wednesday, 54 the high temperature. Slight chance for showers both Thursday and Friday, but we're warmer. Highs both days around 60. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
Nothing better than supporting local farmers and getting the best of the best when it comes to beef. Did you know H&J Cattle Company now is a store you could shop at directly? Yep, 2074 Bethany Schoolhouse Road in Saluda. Highest quality beef, a nice drive out to the country, and great playground for the kids. You can even get an ATV tour of the farm. Even have local honey, tallow, elderberry syrup, and beautiful home decor items. Online at HandJCattle.com or find us on Facebook, H+J Cattle. Better yet, come around and see us. H&J Cattle Company.
Federal with SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Several faith leaders called urgently for protecting the rights of worshipers while also expressing compassion for migrants. That's after a group of anti-immigration enforcement protesters disrupted Sunday services at a Southern Baptist church in St. Paul, Minnesota. Trey Turner leads the Minnesota-Wisconsin Baptist Convention, to which city's church belongs. He said churches should provide compassionate pastoral care to migrant families affected by immigration enforcement, but the sanctity of our houses of worship must be respected as well. Taking a look at other news, Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell will attend the Supreme Court's oral arguments Wednesday in the case involving the attempted firing of Fed Governor Lisa Cook, an unusual show of support by the central bank chair. SRN News.
Are you tired of that dripping faucet driving you crazy? Is your drain doing more of a gurgle than a flow? Don't despair. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning is here to save your day. Serving our community as locally owned plumbing experts, Franklin Plumbing tackles everything from minor leaks to major clogs. And we're talking fast, friendly, reliable service. They respect your home. They respect your wallet. Josh and his team offer upfront pricing, and that's important. This team I'm talking about, they're fully licensed. They're insured technicians. They're ready for any plumbing crisis that you might encounter. Whether it's routine maintenance, a stubborn blockage, or a total plumbing overhaul, they'll get the job done right the first time. They've been out to my home, my brother's home, even his business. I'm comfortable, very comfortable, bragging on Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning. Stop letting plumbing problems disrupt your life. Call Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning today and experience the difference that true expertise makes. Visit their website, franklinplumbing.sc.com, or give them a call, 799-2222. That's 799-2222. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning.
Carolina Blind and Shutter is Columbia's oldest and most trusted source for interior plantation, real wood exterior, and Bahama shutters. Experience craftsmanship you can see. Visit Columbia's only local showroom or schedule a convenient in-home consultation. Quality, tradition, and personalized service. That's the Carolina Blind and Shutter difference. Call 803-796-5564 for an appointment or browse online at carolinablindandShutter.com. Discover timeless style for your home. Carolina Blind and Shutter.
Hey honey, did you see this new insurance card for the state health plan? It has a big box pharmacies logo on it. Does that mean we have to switch pharmacies?
Nope, not at all. That logo's just on the card.
So we don't have to leave the pharmacy that treats us like family?
Exactly. We can keep the same great care from our local pharmacy.
True Pharmacy, the pharmacy that takes time to care. Come see us at our Columbia location at 623 Beltline Boulevard or in West Columbia at Triangle Pharmacy, 1239 D Avenue.
Hi, it's Mary Catherine
and Thomas from Louisiana Purchase, inviting you to start your day sweet with beignets and coffee from 9 to 11.
Treat yourself to lunch at Louisiana Purchase and find one-of-a-kind gifts you won't see anywhere else.
Stop by Cypress Market for gourmet meats, cheeses, fine wines, and ready-to-go items.
Give your weddings, graduations, holidays, and office parties Southern flair with our catering and custom charcuterie.
Visit Louisiana Purchase, your taste of the South, all in one stop.
LouisianaPurchase.com.
Hey y'all, this is Ted at Flight Deck Restaurant. We are now introducing a fast and price breaker lunch special menu. Pick any item for only $9.95. Here's what we have to offer. Single grilled pork chops, spaghetti with house salad garlic bread, single grilled chicken, chicken salad cold plate, chicken tenders, small Greek salad, grilled bacon and cheese, small chef salad, pepperoni pita pizza, small chicken tender salad. All meals except salads come with one side. Come and enjoy a delicious lunch for only $9.95. Serving from 11 to 2 every day. Flight Deck Restaurant in Lexington. Thanks y'all and God bless.
Well, as they say, the devil is in the details. And I've shouted this to the mountaintops for, I don't know, the last 10, 15 years. The devil in college athletics is spelled ESPN. Way too much power. You're talking about games being played at 11 o'clock in the morning and on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, all that. It serves one purpose and one purpose only, and that's to give ESPN programming. And, of course, for them to make money, you know. And we gobble it. The problem is, you know, we're addicted to it. Again, you know, we're the addicts, and they're the pushers. And they're pushing the product, and no matter when and where the product is laid out there, you know, we're gobbling it up. And as long as that's the case, you know, now they're fighting. Here's the thing about college football right now. You can't even come close to fixing everything happening in the transfer universe, in the free agent universe. You're not even anywhere close to fixing that. And here they are now trying to change the playoff structure again, which they've already changed it once. And you're not going to find a consensus to go to 24 teams. as the Big Ten is standing steadfast on, while the ACC and the SEC are, I think, opposed to that. You just, again, there's no leadership, and there's, if you can't get a consensus among your leaders how to run things, then you're going to have the chaos that you're seeing today, and that's what we've had from the get. I mean, we've seen conferences rating one another for schools, which makes it ridiculous that you've got, West Coast schools playing on the East Coast regular season games because they're in the Big Ten, vice versa. That should never be happening in college sports. Anybody with a lick of sense, if a judge wanted to rule something impactful on college sports, rule that you can't have a team from the West Coast in a conference with teams from the East Coast, okay? You got to have a little common sense come into play. Common sense at some time has got to overrule money. It does. At some points it's got to overrule money, and we don't have any common sense being applied in the college world right now. All right, we got Zach standing by. We're going to get to him in just a moment, but Rodney down in Charleston has been holding, so let's give him an opportunity. Then we'll get to Coach. 1st and 10, looking ahead to the national championship game. Rodney, welcome in. How are you?
Good evening, both of you guys. I'm going to do my very best to be short and succinct. You unloaded a bunch there, and I can't touch it at all because Zach won't get in. But first of all, wanted to say honor as far as for the MLK Day. Of course, didn't get a chance to get in at the beginning of the show, but I'm pretty sure with you being right there in Columbia, you realize, of course, giving kudos to the 2025 South Carolina State Bulldog football team for being recognized for their accomplishment. I told some people down here, unfortunately, it'll be some people who, what's that old expression, get their panties in a wad. Well, why did they do that and let them do that? I don't want people to have that short and narrow of a view. Understand it's an honor that has been given to either Clemson or Carolina when they have won. This isn't the first time we've won a national championship, so that in itself is an accomplishment to get back and win. But real quick, what I wanted to do, and I've thought about it since last year, believe it or not, Coach Cinetti, as well as Coach Berry, have things in common. Both of them came in at the same time. They were coaching in the FCS and Division II. Both of them have been successful. Coach Cinetti didn't make it all the way, but they got to the playoffs. Unfortunately, they lost, but they were able to retool, come back, and have another dream season. Coach Berry did the same thing, come back and go undefeated again in the MEAC, but also did things in both years that hadn't been done by other Bulldog coaches. I'm not going to go through everything. You can look it up. But the bottom line is I'm pulling for Indiana so they can complete the goal and the dream, so to speak, win their championship and ride off in the history, so to speak, untouched. Just as the Bulldog did. But thanks so much for your time. And have a good day.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you very much for that. All right, there's another vote for Indiana tonight. Indiana's got a bunch of people at that game. This kind of, Indiana right now, let's welcome in. Well, before we start talking about it, let's do it formally. It's time for 1st and 10 here on Sports Talk.
Now, 1st and 10 with Zach Willis on the Sports Talk Media Network.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Willis. Good to have the coach with us as we head towards kickoff down in Miami. I was going to say, Zach, welcome in, sir. That this Indiana team, here. Yes, sir, this Indiana team, its role this season kind of reminds me of that first ride with Clemson when the Tigers rose up with Deshaun Watson at quarterback and won the national championship. They were little teeny tiny Clemson, and I mean, people by then had forgotten about the days of the mighty Tigers of the 80s and the 90s. This was a first this was not a absolute first, but it was for that generation a first ride for Clemson, and this is a first ever ride for Indiana in football. So I can see some similarities between the two.
Yeah, Phil, I think that, Clemson had played for a national title before they came back and won one. But you're right, on the national level, people were like, where did they come from? And I'm like, you never heard of Danny Ford? You never heard of Donnell Wolford or William Perry or Homer Jordan or Terrence Flagler or Perry Tuttle? I was kind of laughing about it. I promise you Nebraska knew about them, and a whole lot of other people did too. But, yeah, I mean, I think there are some similarities. Anytime you have a sort of Cinderella story, I mean, they've been doing this like Rodney just said so eloquently. They were here last year in the playoffs, and congratulations to the Bulldogs too. I'm a big fan, and congratulations on that national championship. That's a big honor, and I'm glad they recognized them. They recognized us at Newberry, and it was a big deal for our school and our kids and our program to go to the State House. So they do that for a lot of people. They did it when Furman won their national championship. I wasn't able to be there. I was in the hospital and not playing. It wouldn't have mattered if I had been because I wasn't very good. But they do that for other people, and I'm glad they did it.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Yeah. All right, so let's talk about this Miami, Indiana. It's number 10 versus number 1. Indiana's wowed everybody, but Miami has also been impressive. So what do you think? Well, what's going to make the difference in this ball game as you see it?
Well, I think it should be slightly, but with that being said, I don't put a lot of faith or the factors because I think that can do for everyone to enjoy the game. The biggest factor I see in Miami's favor and against Indiana is a home for Miami. Now, before anybody says that's not fair, this was set a long time before the season ever started last year to where the final would be played, and Miami's earned the right to play on their home field. Everybody knew that going in, and Texas A&M and all over the place on the road and have been the road team in every game and underdog basically in every game that they won. So they've earned this, but it is a definite hit to them. I was looking at the web in the 50s down there, so I don't think the heat's going to bother Indiana, so that's one big thing they don't have to worry about. I had to in Alabama in 80-degree weather on turf, and it did not work out too well. Quentin Richardson and Julio Jones and Mark Ingram were bad enough as it was. We had to try to tackle those guys in 80-degree weather, and it got ugly fast. But I don't think that's going to happen tonight. I think the big thing is the home field advantage, but Indiana travels so well, they turned the semifinal game into a home game because their fans overwhelmed. You're talking about Georgia. I don't know, that blew my mind. But they had like 90% of the crowd they said was Indiana, is what I heard from folks that would know. So the big thing is that home field advantage for Miami, and can the quarterback in Indiana, Mendoza, can he continue his torrid pace? Old coach in me says, man, he might be due for a little bit of a struggle here. And can Indiana win if he's riding the struggle bus for part of this game? Because Miami's got a great defense, Phil.
Running game. Who will do the best job in the running game, controlling the clock if at all possible, and setting up the quarterback? Now, both of these quarterbacks have been hot. Now, both of them have incredible numbers. And I think maybe some people, Mendoza's been so good, I think some people are kind of looking past Carson Beck. And, I mean, his championship legacy is strong.
Huge.
And and his numbers this year have also been great. He hasn't had they spent good money on him, and it's worked out. So, anyway, which one do you think is going to have the edge in the running game?
If I had a crystal ball, Phil, the biggest thing it comes back to is this execution. Who's going to go out there and execute? And you're dealing with 20-year-olds, and I would say it's going to be a slugfest. I think it's going to be an even fight. That's what I'm hoping for. I don't really pull for individual teams unless somebody I coach with or somebody the game. I don't have that really, other than Victor Ishmael, who worked with me at Carolina, has been on Miami's strength staff for years. But, I mean, Phil, I'm going to be honest, both of these teams are championship caliber teams. They're both outstanding. They're both physical. They're both balanced on both sides of the ball. And people say, well, Indiana may not have the athletes. That's not true. They've got just as much talent as Miami does across the board. And you're right, Beck is just cut his teeth in the SEC. He's played in huge games before. This ain't going to be any different for him. He's already done that. He's been there and done that at Georgia. And then as you said, he's earned his money. He took them to the national championship. Exactly what they hoped he would do, he did it. It doesn't get enough credit, in my opinion. I agree with you on that, too. I don't know, Phil. I'm going to be honest. I've never been one to try to pull anybody. It is a street fight, straight up. It's going to be physical, and it ought to be a lot of fun to watch. It's everything that football is supposed to be about.
Yeah. Visiting with Zach Willis, 1st and 10 here on Sports Talk, heading up to the kickoff of the national championship will be shortly, so we'll let you run here just a second. Does Indiana can they match some of the big play potential that Miami has in like a Malachi Toney? That guy's sort of he kind of stands out by himself.
Yeah.
You just give him a little bit of space, and he can do a lot of damage. Can Indiana counter that?
They can counter it with scheme because they look what they did to Alabama, and Alabama has some kids that are really as explosive. Now they're not hot right now, and Alabama's quarterback, who they made look very pedestrian, is probably going to be a first-round draft pick in the draft, probably high pick. He's a great player, and they shut him down. So Indiana has the right mix of talent and teamwork and great coaching, but Miami does too. This is one of those games, Phil. Back in the 70s or 80s, back in the 20th century, we'd call this a game of the century, even though we got a long way to go in the 21st century. But this is that kind of game. This was a Michigan State Notre Dame regular season game in 1967.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Nebraska Miami type game when they were clashing. Oklahoma Miami a few years. It's one of those games, and I think that I hadn't paid attention to a ton of the media. I get a lot of my information from you and things like that, but I see this as a clash of titans. Two teams that are really the class of college football, and I see it as a victory for the playoffs because they've gotten two great teams in this ball game, and they've earned their way there, beating Blue Bloods all along the way.
Zach, with regards to Indiana, let's assume they seal the deal and win tonight. First off, is this one of the greatest stories in college football history, considering what Indiana has in terms of no tradition, as bad as that program has been, as bad as any program in the country? And then also, where would you rank this team, this year's 16-0 team, if they win tonight, in terms of all the great teams that we have seen over the years in college football?
I think that, number one, it's maybe the best coaching job, that along with Vanderbilt. I would put Clark Lee in there too. I'd say it's as good as we've ever seen. Now, you guys are the journalists, so you probably have a better opinion on better story. But as a coach and a fan looking at it, I don't think there's anything any bigger ever been out there. There's some things as big. But I'd go over to basketball and say, when Jim Valvano and NC State won the national championship in basketball, it went on that run with Derek Whittenberg and Cozell McQueen from Bennettsville, South Carolina, blocking Akeem Olajuwon's shot. Now, I'm dating myself. Villanova with Harold Jensen bombing them threes to beat Georgetown. But I don't know that we've had maybe Miami upset Nebraska in the Orange Bowl with Schnellenberger, and Nebraska had Turner Gilbert. It's that kind of story. But it's not a story of an upset. It's a story of dominance throughout the year for a team that's been literally not even dormant, but never really has been a winner. They're known for losing. I can't think of anything bigger, honestly. And Kristen, there's another part of your question, but I've lost it thinking about how big this is.
That's okay, and I think that probably answers my question. Yeah, where would this team rank in terms of all the great teams we've seen?
Well, there's a few of those Miami teams that I think really would be hard to beat if you look at who was on them and who was playing on them. Alabama, of course, has had a couple. And I would throw the Clemson team that blew out Alabama in San Francisco, just beat them to death. And that wasn't a bad Alabama team. Trevor Lawrence went crazy on them. Those are three, but there's more out there. College football is great because it's flawed just enough that you can have these great runs by these teams. You can have incredible upsets, whereas the NFL, it's a little bit harder to do that. But they are definitely an all-time great team. And people can argue about it till the cows come home, but if they finish it tonight, and especially if they dominate this game, you got to put them up there. You got to put them way up there if they dominate Miami at Miami for the national championship.
Last thing we'll let you go. Last thing we'll let you go. So if you're on the sideline before the South Atlantic Conference Championship game, as you were, and Jimmy Coggins, right before kickoff, comes walking up to you and sticks a mic in your face and asks you a pregame question, how would you feel about that?
Well, it depends on how much money. I guess I was getting paid, and if Andy Carter and Mick Zase and Billy Walker, who were all the brain trusts at Newberry, I'd do anything. Number one, and that's the voice of the Indians at that time, now the Wolves.
Yep.
And probably Todd Knight would have had to calm me down. And then I went out and done what I had to do. But I mean, man, I'm gonna tell you what, I don't know how these guys. I could handle the halftime. They started that while we were at Newberry.
Yeah,
that's some tough stuff now, Phil. I don't know if I could handle it or not.
Yeah, you got your mindset on kickoff, and here comes the ESPN mic in your face. I mean, I appreciate good reporting and good journalism, but really, what are you going to gain from a coach 60 seconds before kickoff? Really, after you've talked to him ad nauseum for 10 days. We got to run, Coach. Out of time. We
Thanks,
appreciate
Coach.
you. Enjoy the game. Talk to you again soon. Be back in a moment.
This is Major Billy Downer with the Department of Natural Resources, and I've got a message for all of our hunters out there. Whether you're on the water or going hunting on land, always tell someone where you're going. Be specific and tell them when you plan to return. Plan your hunt and hunt your plan. For more information on hunter education, visit dnr.sc.gov or join us on Wednesday nights for SC Wild.
Download the free Go Outdoors SC app from SCDNR, buy licenses, report harvests, and carry everything digitally right on your phone. Go Outdoors SC.
Hi, I'm Jim Corbett. I've been an attorney for more than 30 years. There's one thing I've learned about injury cases. It's you need the personal touch. You need the lawyer to get to know you and describe your damages. You don't want a case manager talking to an insurance company and then talking to you and then talking to maybe to a lawyer with limited experience at the last minute to try to settle a case. I talk to you. I find out what your case is about. Jim at JimCorbettAttorney.com. Jim at JimCorbettAttorney.com for your injury cases.
The lottery is not about getting rich. It's about helping people, and it always has been. The lottery is what helped raise the Great Wall of China, build the roads of Rome, and today in South Carolina, it's what generates millions of dollars each year for scholarships like the SC Hope, Life, and Palmetto Fellows. The South Carolina Education Lottery is investing in you. Visit sceducationlottery.com/betteryou to learn more.
Make your plans now to get to the coast for the Palmetto State's premier baseball showcase, The Classic, March 5th through 8th at Mike Johnson Park in Georgetown. Now in its 36th year, The Classic features the best high school players and teams from across South Carolina. Don't miss your chance to see the state's top Major League Baseball prospects and title contenders at The Classic, presented by Coastal Chevrolet Cadillac Nissan. There'll be games and contests, including a home run derby throughout the weekend. Visit theclassicgtown.com for tickets and more information. The Classic, showcasing South Carolina's finest in high school baseball, March 5th through the 8th in the state's best ballpark, Mike Johnson Park in Georgetown.
Play ball!
Well, just as I predicted, Miami is dominating this game. Early on.
One first down.
They've taken the opening kickoff, and they've moved it for a first down. Let's see if there's anything else in here that we want to talk about tonight before we sign off. Tomorrow night, Tuesday, got basketball tomorrow night. We'll be covering both games. If somebody up at Little John, I'll be over at the CLA for South Carolina, Oklahoma. Clemson will be hosting NC State tomorrow night, and Bergie will be in the captain's chair for the second hour tomorrow night, so make plans for that. And See if there's anything else here I wanted to mention tonight before we say goodbye.
While you're rolling through that, if I may, Scott Eisberg down in Charleston just tweeted out a picture of Curt Cignetti, and it was from, believe it or not, just 7 years ago, back in September of 2018 when he was coaching Elon. He was at Charleston Southern playing in front of 2,400 fans and came back to beat Charleston Southern. I guess it was 31-22, the final score. And then 7 years later, he's playing in front of 70,000 people for a national championship.
Amazing.
Just remarkable.
I also saw a picture somebody tweeted out as an Indiana fan. Somebody put this on X, that this person took this picture at Curt Cignetti's first game in August of 2024, I think it was, at Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
And it must have been, you couldn't see the whole – you could only see one side of the stadium, but there were like 20 people sitting over there. There was nobody there. The point was, this is what it was like when he first got there.
Yeah.
Which I think was 20 – not 20 – was it 24? Is this his second year?
Yeah,
this is only his second year. So it was 2024. August of 2024. It was like 20 people in the state. That was for a game. That wasn't for a practice.
Yeah. Well, they were coming off with a 3-win season the year before. That's
the
reason they got rid of Tom Allen.
They were
ironically
so bad.
enough.
Yeah, they were so bad at that time. I'm trying to think. Didn't South Carolina play Indiana in a bowl game? Is that one of the bowl losses South Carolina had when they went?
I think it is. Yeah, I think you're right.
They started out 0-8 in bowl games, and I'm thinking one of the losses was to Indiana. That's not I'm not making a point of fact here, Plummer. You're not hitting me with the siren if I'm wrong here. I'm thinking out loud with a question mark. But I think
you're
that
right.
was the
Liberty
case.
Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Liberty Bowl in 1988. There we go.
Yeah. 34-10. That would have been 88. That would have been Todd Ellis's group.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Memphis, Tennessee.
In Memphis. That's where the Liberty Bowl is, yeah. I think I was at that game in all likelihood. Okay, final thoughts, Bergie?
Oh, and just so, like I said, and I agree with Zach. I just hope tonight's game is worth staying up until 11:30 to watch it finish.
Mm-hmm.
I hope I'm not turning it off at about 9:45 tonight because it's a blowout. I don't think it will be. I think it has the makings of being a really, really classic game. I just hope that's the case.
Yeah, I think so.
And
too.
I hope it's not a turnover fest like we saw last night in the Chicago Rams game. Of course, the weather's a little bit better in South Florida than it was in Chicago last night.
But
too.
give me that setting in Chicago.
Oh, wasn't it great?
I mean, come on,
it was awesome.
That was from the national anthem that we played earlier, just to the. I was going to say, I mean, those players on the sideline were soaking it up. The national anthem, the atmosphere, the snow, they were just so. And that's why I love those guys. That's why I love the NFL. I hope for the day that college football, because we know it's never going to go back to the way it was at this level. I hope for the day that they can get an organization with rules in place that can let it operate in a way that the NFL can operate and be a little cleaner with their financial operations. All right, that'll do it. We'll see you tomorrow night. Thanks for being with us. Have a great night.
WQXL Columbia W264DF.
From the